Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, and we are going to study the history of class 9, the third chapter, and the name of the lesson was Nazism and the Rise of Hitler, and this is the third video of this series. Earlier we have already done two more videos on this particular lesson. You can check out in the playlist. So here we are going to read today unit 1.3, the years of depression. Here we mean the years of depression, the economic depression, how there was a great change in the economy of Germany and how it had become poor. Now, before that, we read in the earlier part, or we saw in the earlier video, that how Germany was printing too much of mark, that is the currency of Germany, and the value of mark had like fallen down. There was a hyperinflation in the earlier part, and like 1 crore mark was equal to almost like $1. That means whatever things you could buy with $1, for that you have to give 1 crore mark. So it was a very bad situation in the economic currency of our Germany. So this is what happened at the time. So the years between 1924 and 1928 saw some stability, and how the years of depression spread we'll come to know in this chapter. So the years between 1924 and 1928 saw some stability. There was little bit of good business and there was a economic stability, yet this was built on sand. That means sand means it is temporary. Anything that we build on sand cannot stay for a long time. It will go away, as sand is like temporary. So here also it is meant that it was built on sand, means it was for a temporary period of time. German investments, America had already done so much investment on this Germany, and German investments also and industrial recovery were totally dependent on the short-term loans, largely from USA. As I told you just now, USA had given loan to Germany, and all the German investments and industrial recovery money had come from short-term loans from USA. This support was, however, withdrawn when the Wall Street Exchange crashed in 1929. Now here Wall Street Exchange means here the stock exchange. As you know, in our country also there is like Nifty and the BSC, that is Bombay Stock Exchange and all, where the stocks of the different companies and different organizations are bought and sold, and there is a business. So here it crashed, means there was no business, and there was a great change in the Wall Street Exchange in 1929, and America lost a lot of money there in the business. So fearing a fall in the prices, people made frantic efforts to sell their shares. And in America, when the people saw that the price of the shares are going down day by day, they did not want to keep their shares for a long time. They made very frantic, very like nervous efforts, like quickly they wanted to sell their shares. That on a single day, on one single day, 24th October, 13 million shares were sold in America. And as a whole, this was the start of the great economic depression. When people don't want to invest their money in the shares, when people don't want to keep their shares, then they want to sell them. They don't have confidence on the market. That time there is no business, and this was the start of the great economic depression. And over the next 3 years, between 1929 to 1932, the national income, the overall national income of USA fell by half. Suppose if we take that it was like 10 lakh, if the national income, it became 5 lakh only, means almost half it became. So factories were shut down, and factories were unable to produce the things, and exports also were not there. Exports fell down, and the farmers were badly hit. Why? Because there was no one to buy their products from them, and speculators, all the people, those who were trying to invest the money in the market, the speculators, the businessmen, withdrew their money, did not invest their money, took away the money from the market. The effects of this recession, or this great change in the US economy, was not only felt in US or United States of America, but also it was felt worldwide. And as Germany was also connected, so they also became worst hit by the economic crisis. So the German economy was the worst hit by the economic crisis, because by 1932 industrial production was reduced to only 40% of the 1929 level. So as Germany had taken loans from USA, now USA itself was hit by the economic depression. They wanted the money back, and they could not continue their help, or they could not give the money to Germany. and even they could not do business also. That is why the economy was the worst hit by the economic crisis. So it is said here that by the end of, or by 1932, the industrial production became 40% only, because in 1929 level how much it was going on, it became only 40% in comparison to 1929 level. Workers, those who were working there, they lost their jobs, and they were paid reduced wages. Their money or their salary, whatever they were getting for each day, the wages, the amount of money for working in one day was reduced. If they were earlier getting 20 marks per day, now they were getting only 10 marks, or they were getting like 12 marks, like that. The number of unemployed touched an unprecedented, which could not be imagined, that is 6 million people were found unemployed in Germany, and the most of the workers lost their job as factories were shut down. On the streets of Germany, you could see men with placards. Placards means here a kind of poster, or holding a what you can say cardboard, and written somewhere, written around something around their necks. Also, they just put it, and they said like placards. It was written they are willing to do any work. That means they are not finding any work, any kind of work, whatever they will find, they are willing to do that. So this was the condition of Germany at that time. So unemployed youths were there, the people those who did not get any job. Unemployed youths played cards as, or they did not have any work. That is why simply they were sitting on the street corners and desperately queued up, lined up at the local employment exchange in search of some kind of job or some kind of employment. So this was the condition. And as jobs disappeared, there was no jobs, there was no employment, the youth took to criminal activities. And because they were hungry, because they had no other option, they became criminals. They began to snatch the things, they began to loot the people, and total despair became commonplace. And there was a very bad situation. People were even afraid to go out of their homes, and forcefully the poor people, or the people those who did not have the job, began to take the things away from the other people. So this economic crisis created deep anxieties and some kind of nervousness and fears in the minds of the people. And the middle class, the people those who were belonging to the middle class, the bourgeois group, and especially the salaried employees, the people those who were getting salary, and pensioners, those who were earlier doing job but now they are getting pension, one amount after the job gets over, every month they saw their savings diminish. Means they had already saved the money when the currency lost the value. Suppose I am telling you that, suppose you have 100 marks in your hand, you will get 1 kg of potatoes, and now you have that 100 marks in your account, but for buying 1 kg of potatoes you need 10,000 marks. So that means the money is there in your account, but the money cannot be used. That amount of money has lost its value. With that you cannot buy anything. So the currency lost its value at that time. Small businessmen and the self-employed and the retailers also suffered, as there was a lot of problem in their business also. So we'll come to know that. And before that, we see the Wall Street Exchange. I already said it is the name of the world's biggest stock exchange located in USA. And this is one more picture here. This is the picture sleeping on the line. During the Great Depression, the unemployed could not hope for wage or shelter. So on winter nights, they wanted a shelter over their head, so they did not get any bed to sleep, but they had to sleep on this line, just leaning on that. And even for this also they had to pay money for that. So you can understand that what was the economic condition of Germany at the time, and this was the height of the economic crisis that happened in Germany. So this picture shows us how bad the situation had become in Germany at that time. Now, as I was telling you, the small businessmen and the self-employed, those who were doing self-business and self-work, and retailers, those who are businessmen selling in the market, so the shopkeepers, they suffered a lot as the businesses got ruined. Why? Because these sections of the society were filled with the fears of, the word is tough, try to understand, the sections of the society were filled with the fear of proletarianization. What is proletarianization? Proletarianization is actually one kind of feeling, a fear that you are getting impoverished. Means you are reducing the level from a middle class to a worker, and again you are going down. So here you will find the meaning at the end of the page, and here it means that to become poor day by day. and it was an anxiety of being reduced to the ranks of the working class. And first of all, you are not able to do business, then you have to do work under someone, because you are businessman or self-employed, or you are doing or showing a yourself as a retailer, so you don't want to be anybody under anybody. But here you are not getting any money from any one of them, so that is why you are getting reduced to the rank of a worker. Here you will be working under somebody. After that, words still, you will become unemployed. Afterwards, your work also will not be left and you will become unemployed. So this was the fear or this anxiety that was going on in the minds of the people, those who were the businessmen and self-employed and the retailers. And this word is proletarianization. So this is what we come to know here, that it is said only organized workers could manage to keep their heads above water. So the organized workers means the people, those who were getting proper salary, and they were able to like organize themselves, that how to use their skill for better skills and better employment. So only organized workers could manage to keep their heads above water, but unemployment weakened their bargaining power. So here we come to know that they could remain in business, they could get money, but the bargaining power, suppose the bargaining power is that, like, if the work could be done in like 100 marks, then how much they will take. So someone may demand that I want 100 marks, otherwise I will not do the job. But now that bargaining power was not there, if someone said I will give you only 50 marks, I will give you only 20 marks, then also they were ready to do the job. Why? Because they had no other option, but at least they have to take little money and for their survival. So this is what happened to the organized workers. Somehow they were able to survive, but not in a proper way, as they had lost their bargaining power. Big business was also in crisis. Why? Because the large mass of peasantry or the farmers was affected by a sharp fall in the business, in their production. So here we come to know that even the farmers also were not saved or spared from this situation, and the farmers were affected by a large way by a sharp fall in the agricultural prices. The prices had become very, very less, and the women, unable to feel their children's stomachs, were filled with a sense of despair, deep despair. They also could not feel the stomachs of the children, and this is how they were feeling helpless. Politically, if you see carefully, the Weimar Republic was fragile. It was very, very weak. It could be easily broken. Why? Because the Weimar Republic or the constitution had some inherent defects. There were some defects in the constitution when they had made the Weimar Republic. Why? Because some rules and regulations were there which made it unstable and vulnerable. Vulnerable means weak for dictatorship. Dictatorship means when one person can carry the full power. So one major problem was the proportional representation. I'm giving you this example here. Suppose this is the parliament here, and this is how the elected members are going to rule. How many members will be there? 50 and 50, proportional. But in our country it doesn't happen so like that, because we have people from different political parties. They can make coalition, and it is nothing like that. They have to follow proportional representation. Suppose 40%, one party got 40% votes, that means they will get 40 seats. Another party got 10% seats, then they will get 10 seats. Then another party got 30% votes, then they will get 30 seats. So here you can find this is proportional. So how much percentage of votes they will get, that many seats only they will be able to get in the parliament. So anyhow, even if someone has got 40% votes, then also they cannot form, because they have to take again 10% support, and they will make it 50%. Then only they will be able to form the government. Then only they will be able to make the majority. So this system was actually not so good. Actually, this is followed in some countries like Israel and all. Now also it is there maybe, but we are not sure that whether this was good for the government or not. Of course, it was not so, because it made achieving a majority by any one party a very, very near impossible task, and leading to a rule by coalitions. And as a whole, the people could not rule by majority, because there was no such kind of rule where they could attain majority by only one single party. They had to form coalitions. So when they are coalitions, sometimes the parties fight with each other, and this became the vulnerable process to dictatorship. And that is why the dictator we are talking about here is Hitler, and that is why he got the chance, because there were defects in the constitution. Another defect was the Article 48, which gave the president of the country the powers to impose emergency. So whenever he wanted, he could make use of Article 48, and he could impose emergency. Emergency means all the basic rights, fundamental rights would be suspended, the civil rights suspended, and rule by decree. Decree means according to his own wish. Within its short life, the Weimar Republic saw 20 different cabinets of ministers were there, lasting on an average of 239 days, and a liberal use of Article 48. So how many years or how many days this Weimar Republic was there in power? If you divide average, you will find that this government or coalitions ruled for 239 days only, every government. Again, they separated, or they broke away from the government, and there this crisis could not be managed properly. When people began to lose confidence in the democratic parliamentary system, which seemed to offer no solution, as there was no stability, and every now and then the parties used to fight with each other, and the coalitions were broken, and on average 239 days most of the governments got the power, and after that again they had to break, and again new coalitions were made. So as a whole, the people lost confidence. They did not want this kind of government. They wanted that there must be a stable government, and they always preferred rule by one person, that is monarchy earlier. So this is what we come to know here, and in the next unit number 2, we are going to read Hitler's rise to power. Now we'll come to know about how Hitler, who had been earlier a soldier, what happened, how he became powerful. This is what we are going to read in the next part of the lesson. So I hope all of you have understood up to here. All of you are requested to see the video one more time and try to understand. Some tough words were there, and some topics were there, so you can read and you can revise once. If you read again, you will understand one more time, and please see that the earlier videos are seen by you properly, then only you can understand the next part, because all are connected to each other. Now, Hitler's rise to power. Hitler was one of the biggest personalities in the field of dictatorship, and we'll come to know about him in the next one. So thank you. Bye.